Hi all, I'm Agnes, Neenu, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science. Today in this video, I'll be briefing about the concepts of shell programming. That is, this video is all about Introduction to Shell Programming. So we'll see. So before that, we'll discuss what is actually a shell. Shell is a command interpreter. Interpreter is nothing, it is a translator. Whatever we type into the command line, it is actually the shell will translate those commands into the machine understandable format. So shell is actually a layer between the operating system kernel and the user. Whatever the user types, shell actually translate it and the operating system kernel will understand it. So a shell program, what is actually a shell program? It contains a group of commands, Linux commands, functions, variables, etc. So they are actually the files. A shell script is actually a file containing Linux commands and control structures like if, looping structures, etc. So Linux shell scripts are actually typed into a plain text file, and it can be run as a command. Just like a command executing a Linux command, we can execute that plain text file. So now we'll see the shell programming structure. So in shell programming structure, whatever things we have in a high level programming language, in shell also we have those concepts and all, like variables for storing data, that decision making statements like if, case statements and all, then looping structures like if, for, etc., and also function calls for modularity. Also in addition, in shell programming we have Unix commands and also pattern editing utilities, that is grep, sed commands are used for pattern editing functions. So we'll see the steps to create, the basic steps to create a simple shell program. So the first step is we have to create a file, plain text file, and name or save it with .sh extension. That is, name of the file have to be entered with a .sh extension. And now the second step is to specify the shell. We have different types of shell in Linux, that is C shell, born again shell, TC shell, etc. So the second step is to specify the shell in which we want to execute our shell script. So the second step is to specify the shell. That is, we'll specify the shell in this format, that is hash exclamation and then name of this shell. That is how we are specifying the name of the shell in which we are going to execute our shell script. That is, example is given, hash exclamation and the shell is given. That is, in this example, bash shell is, that is born again shell is given to execute the program. Now the third step is to write the code. Whatever things we have to include in the code, we can write it inside the code. Like the third step is to write the code. And now the fourth step is to execute. After writing the code, we want to execute that particular code. So in order to execute the script, we have two methods. We can make use of any of these two methods. That is, first one is to make use of chmod command and the second one is using bash command. So using chmod command, that is, we'll be mentioning the command chmod u plus x, that is actually fixed. Next, we can give our file name. Whatever program we want to execute, the name of the file is given with .sh extension. So while executing this particular command, chmod u plus x file name .sh, this particular command will give the script owner, the owner of the program, to execute that particular script. So by executing this particular command, the script owner or the user of that particular script will be having the execute permission. The other method for executing the script is using bash command. That is actually simple, bash, and we can give the file name .sh. So that is the two methods to execute the shell script, and finally we have to run the script. After execution, we want to run that particular shell script. For running the shell script, the format is given dot and backslash, then the file name .sh can be given. So we'll see an example. So this is an example simple shell script. So the shell is specified, that is in the bash shell we are executing this particular program. So echo command is basically used to display something to our screen. So echo is a basic command that we use in the shell script for displaying something to the terminal screen. So in this example, we are just displaying our first shell script and welcome to shell programming. These two lines are printed to the terminal screen. So this is actually a simple shell script using the basic command echo. So in order to execute and run this, we'll see with the help of example. First, we want to save this with some kind of name. So in this example, I am given the name first. First is my file name, and I have saved that particular example with .sh extension. And now after writing the code, I want to execute that particular example script. So I'm using chmod method. So chmod u plus x, then file name is given. So here my file name is first.sh. So I have given that particular file name, and after execution, I want to run that particular script. So for running the command, the format is like this: // and then file name. So my file name is first.sh. So I have given that particular name. So basically the steps for creating a simple shell script is this. First, we want to save our file with .sh extension. Then we have to specify the shell in which we want to execute the program. That is the syntax is given, that is hash exclamation, and then the name of the shell can be given. And the third step is to write the code, and after writing the code, the fourth step is to execute the particular code we have written. And for executing the code, we can make use of any of the method specified, that is chmod command and bash command. Chmod will be giving the script owner to execute that particular script, and bash command will execute that particular script. And finally, the last step is to run the command, that is using // and then the name of the file can be given. So these are the steps for executing and running a simple shell script. So the next is in shell script, we will be having variables for storing data. We have two types of variable in Linux, that is built-in shell variables and user-defined variables. First, we'll see what is actually built-in shell variables. So, built-in variables are actually created and maintained by the Linux system. So, they are actually system variables and are used to define environments. Environments is nothing, it is actually a memory space which we use to define the shell variables. So, since it is used to define the environments or the memory space, it is actually known as environment variables. So, these variables are actually specified by using uppercase characters in order to understand it easily, like this is actually built-in variables. So to see all the environment variables available in the system, we can make use of this command called env or print env command. So we'll see some examples of built-in variables, that is bash is a built-in variable, log name is a built-in variable, and OS type. So bash will be storing the shell name, log name will be having the user's login names, and OS type is for storing the type of the operating system. So these are the example for built-in variables. Now we'll see what is actually user-defined shell variables. User-defined shell variables are actually created and maintained by the users. It is actually maintained by users, and these variables actually allows the users to temporarily store some kind of data that are available throughout the life cycle of that particular script. We can make use of that data during the life cycle of that script, and it actually, unlike other programming language, shell script actually doesn't require us to declare the data type of that particular variable. That is, in other languages like C, C++ and all, we need to declare the type of the variable we are using. So in shell script, we don't need to declare the type of the variable. It actually automatically determines the type based on the data that we store during the runtime. So we don't need to declare the data type of that particular variable we are using. So values of the variable, the values that we store in that user defined variable will be maintained throughout the life cycle of the script and are deleted when the execution of the shell script completes. So the syntax for using the variable user defined variable is given. Variable name is equal to a value. Some kind of value can be stored to the user defined variable, and no blank space are allowed in between on either sides of the equal sign, that is no blank spaces are permitted. So if we want to include some kind of blank spaces in the values and all, it must be enclosed within the double quotes. So we'll see an example of a shell program that use variables. So this is actually a shell script, and it is executed in sh shell, and echo command is actually used to display something to the terminal screen. And here we have two user defined variables, that is tab and fur. Tab for storing the type of the furniture, and first like to store the value furniture, and we display that tab. The dollar tab means the value of the variable tab will be displayed, that is table. The output of this particular example will be table is an example of furniture. So dollar tab is nothing, the value of that particular variable will be displayed. So this is an example of a shell script using variables. So I hope it is clear. This is all about some shell scripting concepts, and thank you.